I'm Damon Zell, and it's time for your Eve Echoes Weekly News Update, where we dive into all the happenings of the week. But first, if you can tag that subscribe button, ring that bell, share the video, then you can stay up to date with everything that this channel has to offer. Well, you guys know if I am wrong on something or something needs to be corrected, I always do it in the following week's video. And Lord, there were a few this week. First up was the destruction of OG's 5H Citadel, where I said the attacking fleet was Pantheon and Genesis. Well, I did forget to include that Catch-22 was also within that fleet, taking that Citadel down. I'm sorry, guys, that I forgot about you. Next, we move on to the Capsuleer's outpost of BWA and OG that got stolen from a member that got kicked without notice, and that he stole funds. Well, it looks like I overstepped and got stuck inside some corp drama that I never wanted to be a part of. I have spoken to both the CEO and the pilot in question, and both see things differently, and that won't change. But I do want to apologize to the BWA CEO about that story, as I didn't have all the facts. That being said, I am not involving myself any further in this situation. Also, a correction in the story last week about the Pantheon pilot who stole 2 OG outposts. He in fact is not a Pantheon member and is only an associate. The next correction gets even stickier. I said that WTF, the Forgotten, a part of Boop, were at war with a corp called Wolf in Outer Ring. Well, the story gets really confusing depending on who you talk to. Nigel still states that they are at war and that they are actively hitting their outposts. However, both Boop and Wolf has stated that there is no war. Also, the member in question that this was all over, Dogo Dude, isn't even in Wolf anymore and hasn't been since May 10th. I reached out and spoke to the leader of Wolf, Robbie Titan, and I asked him a few direct questions to lay this story to bed. 1. Is there an actual war going on, or are your outposts just getting hit because scanning is out? He answers, there is no war. The player they had mentioned isn't in our corp or alliance and hasn't been for over a month now. We had talked with Pantheon and several of the powers and found about just being good old-fashioned content for each other. We roam there, they roam around us, we don't attack their stations, and they don't attack ours. We had no reason to, as again, we don't live in soft space. We are just a small alliance looking for some fun fights. This has since gone out the window as they are now hitting our stations. It's possible it's just because of scanning, but I can't pretend to know their motives. 2. Are there currently any hostilities between Pantheon and Wolf? He goes on to say, as for the relationship between Pantheon and Wolf, it's a long one, and it's had its ups and downs. It goes back to the days of the fall of Terran Federation, but in general, we've respected each other, and any mistakes made were taken care of professionally. We recently took one of their old corps in, and though they had a lot of anger towards them, there was a lot of misunderstanding over the corp leaving, and things got hostile on both sides. We talked it over and tried to work that out, but we have been told that they will never forgive that corp, so our relationship since has become rough. We offered some 1v1s for an old-fashioned duel-style settlement. We even offered to do some monthly tournaments so that several pilots from both sides could shoot each other in a more organized and healthy fashion. This was also turned down. Since then, they have asked us to join the Blue Donut twice, and we've made it clear both times that we do not want this. Last conversation on this was where the Dogo Dude issue came up and ended poorly. We hadn't heard anything since, and the member was shortly after kicked from the corp for other issues. It seems that doesn't matter though, as recently they have attacked several of our stations. I have reached out to Pantheon leadership again to see if we can talk about this, and we'll see how it goes. The last question was, what is your take on the entire situation? And he finishes up with, as for the entire situation, I just feel that people are trying to make content under the pretense of lies, and it bothers me. We will never be blue with Pantheon, and they have been open with us about this. But both of us and them enjoy having good fights, and often we give the people we fight information on how to better fit ships or fight us. We want the game to be a strong community where it's not always about wiping people out because we disagree about a member. This is a game in the end, and we just want to have fun. This is far too often forgotten, and more often or not, the join or die narrative is spun. We can be neutral. We can attack each other on roams, but we don't need to be constantly trying to break each other's kneecaps. This is not a healthy way to play the game. I feel that the attacks on us right now are entirely emotional based and are not healthy for either side. We had an agreement that we could roam and fight each other, but wouldn't go over the top and try to attack each other's station and wipe each other off the map. I'd like to get back to that. That's it for the corrections. I know I got a lot wrong last week, but it happens sometimes. But as for an update on the little one, he is doing fantastic, as you can see. He loves being off the apnea monitor, and he is actually sleeping more regularly through the nights. Now, I'm not saying he's slept through the nights, more than twice, but he is sleeping for longer stretches. And boy, does this boy eat. He's not ready for 6 ounces, but he'll suck down a 5-ounce bottle in no time flat. And then an hour later, he'll want another 2 ounces. However, this week he has found out he has a voice, as he was cooing, not just cooing, but also yelling in the bed one of these mornings, just because he liked the sound of his voice. All right, we had our maintenance this week, and we got our free SP. No delays in that. And the June 16th patch notes read as follows. There's only one optimization, and we all know what that is. They updated the estimated market values. However, the scanners are still not insurable. Nanocores are, but apparently scanners are not. They have 4 bug fixes for us this week. They fixed an issue where in some cases the corporation office would not successfully deduct the maintenance fee. They fixed an issue where in some instances Nanocore related item tooltips weren't appearing. They fixed an issue where an error would occur for corporation approval logs in certain cases. This error may have caused the item to be moved multiple times. And lastly, they fixed an issue where delivery assets were empty in some cases. Okay, in relation to the sovereignty maps, I have spoken to Exekiel about the Solve maps, and they are currently on hold due to his mother being in the hospital with cancer. So my prayers are with him and hope for a speedy resolution and hopeful recovery for his mother. I will try to reach out to him again to see if I don't want to pester him to get these maps because life comes first. But I am talking with several other people to see if there's a solution we can come to until he makes his return to the game. Okay, did you know that using Nanocores not only improves the stats and look of your ship, but also raises the kill value of your ship without raising your insurance point cost? Rugby enthusiast and official BZ mascot Zyklon has brought this to my attention. His ruptures that he flies usually always cost around 89 million, with an insurance point cost of around 87. As you can see, the one on the left is with no nanocore, and the one on the right has it equipped. Now, it's a negligible difference, insurance point-wise. However, when it explodes for the same insurance points, the kill mill itself is inflated by over 300 million. This is a great find, Zyklon, and let's hope that it's supposed to work like this, and that it's not a bug that is, just in favor of the players that the devs want to remove. Through a weekly dev Q&A, we learned future ship plans to release new ships. However, they would like to work on bringing more existing ships into that Tech Level 10 variant, along with the new Tech 10 variables for these before bringing in any new ships for the 4 empires. So, do not expect to see anything new like the Firetail or the Comet anywhere in the near future. Now, that being said, I posed a question to Joseph about nanocores, seeing as they are new to EVE and a Echo's exclusive feature. I asked him if this was a Echo's version of clone implants, and I was surprised to learn that these are different than any potential future implants. This does get me excited that eventually we might get them, hopefully along with jump clones, and I can see the day where someone wins a free Omega combo off of a pod kill. In your Plex market report this week, Plex has dropped down to 1.5 million per Plex and has a steady incline up towards 1.6 million per Plex. With the ending of the war, I expect that this Plex price will start creeping back up, so buy it while it's low now. This week we've seen the close to the largest Eve Echoes war, and after 6 months, Genesis and its allies, Pantheon and Catch-22, can raise their fists in the air, signifying victory. The linchpin victory that effectively ended the war was the fight of ZID this past weekend, where over 1,000 players swelled the system and fought hard for 3 hours until finally the Citadel went down in a spectacular explosion. However, the turning point in this war that tipped the scales back into Genesis's favor, along with its allies, was the WX Citadel defense on June 1st against 1,300 Content Coalition pilots, where the attack was not only repelled, sending the Content Coalition back home in defeat, but also Genesis's surprise move of dropping soft citadels throughout 3 of their 4 regions. It had always been believed throughout the Content Coalition that Pangen 22 could not win during a Chinese primetime defense. This defense was not only during the Chinese primetime, but also on a national holiday, to ensure maximum participation. The crown jewel of the Content Coalition being downed was a sobering fact that initiated a wave of peace talks and evacuation out of Fae. The battle itself was a 3-hour slugfest with over 1,000 players, with the sound strategic moves such as T sacrificing themselves, wiping out a camped gate and leading the rest off, which allowed the Pan Gen 22 reinforcements to enter and position on the grid for the rest of the fight. Let's look at the numbers that were painstakingly taken by Weird Bob of Evo 1, using every corp log from Pan Gen 22 involved in the battle, and 6 cups of coffee. This is the most accurate that we can get until we can get that API kill board. Now, this does not take into consideration pods and trainer ships that were on the grid. The losses, we have Pan Gen 22 at 125 ships, and the ACR Content Coalition at 313. The total ship ISK value in losses on the Genesis Ally side was 54.6 billion, and 114.2 billion on the Content Coalition side. You add in the station, and you have total losses for ACR Content Coalition at 138.5 billion. Other fun facts: average ISK per ship, the Pan Gen 22 was around 437 million per ship, and on the Content Coalition side, about 365 million. Total ISK lost on the fight combined is 193 billion. I will be adding in a link to the description for the spreadsheet for public scrutiny. The same day, just hours after the battle, Genesis had put their stamp back on the map in ZID, which Genesis had lost months back near the start of the war. This victory echoed throughout New Eden as issues were to abandon the defense of the neighboring K9 Citadel and announce a full-scale asset move out of Fae. The K9 Citadel was defended, but nowhere close to the numbers achieved before ZID fell. 200 pilots proudly defended K9, however, in the end, this too would also fall to the Pan Gen 22 fleet. The collapse of the Content Coalition and the wave of peace talks happened a mere hour after the ZID Citadel fall. ACR has pulled mostly out of Fae, fortifying its position in Omst. The condition of a formal apology on Reddit to Genesis has yet to be met. However, Zebra did leave a nice post on his thoughts of the war and wishing his former allies well in the game. Void has bowed out and pulled back to their space while wishing everyone a good fight. They congratulate the forces of Genesis, Pantheon, and Catch-22 on a well-fought war. Genesis has demanded the hat of Captain Benzie as a war trophy to be put on display back at their hall. Warp had sent in an official statement about the end of the Content Coalition and the Southern War itself. Warp has and will forever be a group of pilots just looking to have fun and never be too serious. The war in the South has changed Warp into who I would like to call hardened casuals, whatever form we took. Our NWB, Weed, TWPA, NSFW, and now Warp, we always had the same goals of keeping the game fun for our pilots. The Content Coalition was born out of a similar goal, to have fun and enjoy the game. Unfortunately, over months and months of back and forth with Pan-Gen, the war was no longer fun. Constant defense and attack CTAs play havoc on those casual players. We lost some great corps and pilots from the way things were going in the war. All in all, though, I do not see this as a loss for Warp or Content Coalition. We showed that even the smallest can hold their own against the largest forces in the game. Flying beside OG and Void has some of the best combat experience in the game and is invaluable to our players. All things come to an end, and this is just the next chapter in our New Eden story. Fly safe. And lastly, we come to OG. OG is the last vestige of the Content Coalition that remains in the crosshairs of Pantheon, Genesis, and Catch-22, as no peace has been achieved for their part in the war, as well as bad blood between Pantheon and OG for past remarks about trying to lure in outside forces into dissolving Pantheon. Sandman does maintain that it is absurd and that he has never made such remarks in the past. Either way, peace is still out of grasp in the land of the unicorns. I will say that in the end of the war has been extremely cordial and polite on Reddit, which is a stark difference from the months of propaganda and shitposts from all sides that has plagued the community. All of these alliances have been dealing with war for a very long time, so the question now is, how will they deal with their first taste of peace in over 6 months? Only time will tell, and this is Eve after all. I have learned of the passing of a friend to the Silent Alliance in a tragic work accident, and a vigil will be held in his memory. A message was written by Silent's new dictator with a heart, stating, "With heavy heart I request the pilots of our great federation and our allies from across New Eden to attend a vigil in remembrance of one of our own." xFutabax was a pilot in Care Bears with Guns. He suddenly and was tragically lost his life a few days ago. His fellow pilots in Care Bear with Guns have asked for a Federation-wide CTA to be held to pay respects and honor this fallen pilot and a member of our community. Now, the date for this will be Saturday, June 19th at 1900 UTC. The location will be E-Tech FICO at the Care Bear with Guns Citadel Bear Cave. His roommate, Nothingness, also has some words of remembrance. xFutabax was a cherished friend and roommate. He was always one to share a meal or a good story about his colorful past, full of questionable decisions. Even though many did not know him in the game, he was still part of our wonderful community. He mostly spent his nights shooting rocks and killing pirates, but he always enjoyed listening to my recaps of the latest CTA and internal alliance drama. He enjoyed being explained the intricacies of how the game mechanics and how to become a better pilot, and sought this goal every night. His life was cut short due to a workplace accident which has been hard on his family. This vigil and coming together of friends and enemies alike is a moving notion that touches not only my heart, but the hearts of his family as well. In life, his name was Jason Trope, and he will be missed for his live life in the moment attitude and warm companionship. Most of all for me, I will miss having someone around to explain to me why a mullet is a cool thing, and I am not American enough to understand. Fly safe, Jason. You will always be remembered. I will also be adding a link to xFutabax's family's GoFundMe page to help with funeral expenses in the description. It always hurts when we lose someone from the community like this. It makes the universe feel smaller and colder. All we can do is hold on to the cherished memories shared with those individuals, and this way they will live forever within our hearts and minds. This week, Lunar kills an abandoned outpost. This in and of itself wouldn't be big news, however, it is in the manner that they did it. I mean, just look at those retrievers. They're putting in the work. Good fun kill from the members of Lunar. This week, our Corp Alliance spotlight goes out to the Degenerate Gambling Social Club. Ever feel bored with Eve Echoes? Well, I have a solution for you. At the Degenerate Gambling Club, you can chill and spend some of your hard-earned ISK. At our club, it's just like a casino. You buy in and gamble to your heart's content. When you gamble, grab a few beers and just chill. Questions? Are you a corp? No, we are not a corp. We are just a place to hang out and win some ISK. Do you allow any real money transactions? RMT will not be allowed on this server. Any RMT found will be grounds for immediate ban from the server, along with immediate report to the devs. What about possible bans from the devs for participating? Great question. We have talked with the devs, and they have given us the green light to advertise. You will not be banned for joining and participating. But I don't have Omega. That's okay. We offer Omega giveaway every couple weeks. All you have to do is share a character card screenshot of your main, and you will be entered. A link to their Discord will be in the description below. Go out, win some ISK. Alright, kicking off the big kills this week, we have Genesis Federation with a 16.1 billion Nightmare kill, a 3.7 billion Gila, a 9.1 billion Macarial, 4 Rattlesnakes, all between 14 and 15 billion. No matter where he is, Weird Bob's interceptor roams are always deadly. PHPC comes in with a 15.9 billion Rattlesnake kill. CBX3 of D9 Syndicate has twin Ravens, one for 3.6 and the other for 3.5. both killed by a solo player multi-boxing. I told him that I would highlight that since he was discouraged to find out that he couldn't submit these for the solo kill contest. They also scored a 8.6 billion Macarial kill. Pantheon's Boop got this 4 billion Typhoon, which is nice because I rarely see Typhoons being flown out there. The Mercenary Coalition takes his 3.6 billion Gila kill and a 8.9 billion Macarial kill. Fireflies scores a 15.6 billion Rattlesnake kill, and I know that there is a video of them killing about 50 billion worth of faction battleships in one engagement, but this was the only one that was sent in to me. So remember, for your big kills to highlight or spotlight those kills of your corp or alliance, you need to directly send them to me. I have limited time as it is, and I cannot scour all the Discords to find these kills to post them up. And now it's time for everyone's favorite, the solo kills of the week, and a chance at winning a free Omega combo. I do have a few honorable mentions. We have all killed outposts before. You have, I have. But what happens when a station kills you? These kills here make me wonder if it's possible for an outpost to actually gain kill marks. It must have been a busy week because not that many solo kills were submitted to me. We do have 5, and we're going to go over them. First up is Ally with a 1.192 billion Badger kill. Bad Luck Chuck comes in next with a 1.246 billion Celestis Interdictor kill. Victoria Wild with a 2.888 billion Vigilant kill. And the winner this week of a free Omega combo is PHPC's Silent Assassin with a 3.7 billion Outpost kill. Alright, since this is the first time you're winning this, hit me up on Discord and we'll get that prize out to you. Now remember, the rules of the show to winning the Omega combo is you have to send me in a kill mail of the week, and it can only have one participant on it. That's just one participant. No NPC rats, no gate guns, no other people helping you. It doesn't matter if you have 50 Logis supporting you. There can only be one one participant on that kill mail. Now, if you need more news in your life, I suggest you go over and you listen to Rambo's podcast, The Echoes of New Eden, with weekly roundtable discussions, as well as a featured interview with someone from the community. That person could be a FC, a leader of an alliance or coalition. It's great stuff. You should go over there and listen. And that's my show. So I hope you guys have a great week, a great weekend. Fly safe. And remember, we are always one vision, one purpose, one front. See you later.